Hey, welcome in, fans, to another episode of the Two Line Pass podcast. I'm Brandon. Here with me, as always, I've got Dustin, Ryan, and hey, guys, we actually have got some positive things to talk about. How are you guys feeling tonight? Welcome in.
I feel great. I'm frozen to the bone because I did a cold plunge today. It was freezing cold, but I love the way it makes me feel afterwards. So I feel good, and I feel frozen like I'm on the ice. So it's a good mashup for a hockey podcast.
You could be in the ice age, as we'll call it. Ryan, how you feeling tonight?
Good. Probably the exact opposite of how Dustin is feeling. I have been feeling nice and toasty laying in bed all day, so it's been cool. But feeling good about Utah and everything, so it's gonna be a good week.
The duality of man. And speaking of the duality of man, we've got the duality of the Utah Mammoth. Guys, I'm not sure which team we actually have. I don't know if we are great. I don't know if we are horrible. I don't know if we're just right smack dab right in the middle. But when we last left you guys, we did a live stream to start the San Jose Sharks game. They were coming off the loss to the Ducks in overtime. That was a heartbreaker. And we played San Jose, and that one was another heartbreaker. Another loss in overtime, a game that looked like we should have won handedly. We drop it in overtime. And then we go on to face Vegas for the first time in a 3-game set, or 2 of 3 game set, and just lay an egg. Vegas completely dominates the ice. But then we bounce back against the Rangers in a very tough game, very close game, a game that edge of our seat type game. And then we come back and play the Vegas Golden Knights for that second time and absolutely crush them. With the exception of the second period, there was never a doubt in my mind we were going to win that game. Guys, 2-1-1 over the last 4 games. What kind of team do we have? Do we have the 7-game win streak Mammoth, or do we have the November Fire Tourigny Mammoth? Who do we have on our hands here?
I think we're a good to very good, but not great team who should still fire Coach Tourigny, regardless of how good we are right now. I think but we can save that for another episode. This is a positivity episode. The mayor of Negative Town, if he makes his way onto the set, I'll assassinate him. I don't care. But yeah, I think we are a good to maybe just below very good, like in that little range right there, with the capability. Like this team has the talent to be very good, bordering on great. They might be a year or 2 away just based on the age of everybody, but yeah, that's what we are. We're a good to very good team.
Good to very good team. Ryan, do you agree or disagree?
It's both. We're a good team when we want to be, and then we're a bad team on the nights. Like when we're a confident team, we're a 7 in a row team. When we're not a confident team, we're losing in Fire and Tourney. And it's getting kind of late to figure out which one they're going to be all the time. And the wishy-washy falling back and forth. But, I mean, 2-1-1's a good start. We got to keep it rolling, though. But it's not bad.
I guess this team historically has gone through these pitfalls, right? Through these depths. We saw it last year, kind of about the same time, the November to December type slump, and then to start the year. And then they get Jersey back and they go on the run in the back half of the season. And so we see the same type of thing. We see the highest of the highs. They're second place in the entire league. And then they drop to the second or third worst team in the league in November. And I think that is probably the frustrating part in terms of why we say, fire Tourney, is because the lack of consistency is so infuriating with this team. And they have a chance to do something that they struggled with last year. And that is bouncing back with a win streak. They were capable of bouncing back from losing streaks, but they were much better at going on losing streaks than going on winning streaks. And now we have a chance against Montreal, who gave us an absolute shellacking. The game tonight against Montreal has a chance to be our 3rd in a row, starting another streak. This could be something that is great, but we're starting to see some blossoming of consistency. At least we'll talk getting back to what we were in that 7-game stretch. And I think it starts with your young players. Peterka and Logan Cooley specifically have played out of their minds these past few games. After having a disappointing start to November, especially Logan Cooley. Let's put all their cards on the table. Pre-signing the contract, Logan Cooley was worth $11-12 million, Logan Cooley. The 10 games after signing the contract was like, ooh, sophomore slump Logan Cooley. But now he's back to it, including a 4-goal outpouring against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, JJ Peterka has, 5 goals in 6 games, Ryan, you were saying? 5 goals, 6 games. He has really hit his stride on that third line with Krause and McBain. McBain still can't get on the score sheet, but those young guys are really carrying the load when your guys like Schmaltz and Keller and Gunther, to an extent, are still kind of in that November point every couple of games slump. And the question is, can the young guys continue to carry us into December? What have you guys seen out of those young guys or any players during this last 4-game stretch that has really impressed you?
And I missed the kid line. The kid line was a lot of fun to watch, but they did just kind of like fall apart. Maybe their styles just don't like vibe well together. We talked about like getting JJ Peterka on that line with the Krause and McBain and how they're more predictable and how that works out for Peterka. But I've really liked to see how like they've all had their moments of stepping up, right? Gunther's the player who like, when you need something like overtime or it's closing out late, it's a tie game, and you need somebody to step up and blast one from what's going to turn into his kitchen, he can do that. And Cooley is just so fast, and he's able to just, like in a heartbeat, like he had 1 goal through all of November, and then boom, 4 in one night, and he gets to the team lead in goals scored. And Keller, like, Keller's just sort of like there. And that's what kind of leads me to be positive about the future of this team. And as we go down the later part of the season, is Keller just feels like he hasn't really rounded into form, right? Like you're expecting more from the captain, and he's, I believe, 5th on the team in goals now. And like I think we're all just expecting more, and we know he's capable of more. He's capable of far more than what he's giving right now. I can't answer to what it is that's kind of making him be so sluggish, but I believe last year he went through the same thing in November. I think he only scored 1 or 2 goals in November last year also, and then kind of picks up. And maybe that's just the type of player that he is. Like he's kind of like a diesel engine where it just takes him a while to get going, but once he does, it's powerful. So that leads me to be really confident about this, because the 3 young guys, Gunther and Cooley and Peterka, they're doing their stuff right now. And then once Keller catches up, that's 4 players that are going to be able to give you a lot. I know we're talking about the young guys, but I'll just toss in, like, I want to see more from you, McBain. I want to tweet out the McBain gif from the podcast Twitter a lot more. I've only been able to do twice. I did it once for an actual goal and twice for an overturned goal. So I want more. But we can keep it with the young guys.
Shout out Nate Schmidt. I feel like he finally got recognition for the little stuff he does game in and game out. He's been one of our more consistent defensemen. Him and Marino together have been killing it. I don't know what the up with Stenlin. He has not had a good year at all. And I don't know if you've watched the last few games. He's getting harder to defend. Getting up there with Bukestad levels of like, ugh. You know, maybe his best days are behind it. Maybe it's just no. Maybe Keller needs to go just jerk it real quick. Just bust a nut, and then he'll get back to the business. I don't know. Looks like Cooley busted a nut and got 4 goals. It's pretty good. That's what I'm telling people. He busted no nut November. He gave up on it because it's a stupid thing. But I'm not disliking anything I'm seeing from the young kids necessarily. I would like to see a little more excitement out of JJ Peterka's face when he scores a goal, but Germans I don't think are allowed to express emotion in a positive way. And so it's funny, every time he scores a goal and they cut to him, he's just
Yep, that's what I did. Cooley's sellies make up for it, though. Cooley's got good post.
Keller has the bad. That Keller runs around like he's Patrick Kane, and I love it. I don't know why, but I love when Keller scores.
You know what's
Gunther
so great?
jumping into the boards was not good. That was a terrible jumping. Like even the camera guy was just like, okay.
He gave it his best bet, but
he did.
You know,
that was terrible.
But Clayton Keller's celebrating like he scored. And then as the play goes on, about 30 seconds later, they blow the goal horn, and the review booth in Toronto awards the goal because it absolutely 100% went in. I had never seen that. I had never
Not when the play had
witnessed
continued.
That.
No, usually they blow it dead, and they're like, all right, we're going to review this. Like, they wait for a stoppage, and then they're like, we're going to review this. Never seen in the middle of play before when, like, the other team has the puck. Like, that's crazy. I would have been furious. furious.
Even the announcers, both McConnell and if you're listening to the radio broadcast, Mike Folta, both of them were pretty like this was the first time they were seeing it too. So and there's been some chatter on Twitter about, especially with goaltender interference and the kicking of the pucks, and how new fans are just learning how to know the rules. Like, no, there's some obscure rules out there and some things that you just don't know until you see it, and that's one of them. I'd never actually seen a play blown dead by a Toronto Review via the goal horn interrupting
in the middle of
the
a
game.
play. Yeah, like that
I've
was
never
the
seen it
weirder
before.
part. Like, don't just blow the whistle if you're confused. Like, what are you doing, guys?
It is what it is. But Ryan, to your point, Nate Schmidt has been incredible. 1 goal, 9 assists, plus 11, crushing the competition. He's far and ahead. He is 5 plus minus points ahead of the next closest, which is our guy Ian Cole, who has also turned it around. But Nate Schmidt has been so good, so consistent on the blue line, both defensively and offensively. It's actually, I'm shocked that he's getting as many points as he is, because he just looks so dominant as a shutdown defenseman. He's just putting it together on both ends of the ice, which we kind of talked about. You see it in the playoffs, right? Nate Schmidt comes along, but in the regular season, he's putting on an absolute clinic. Now, I believe that Sergachev still has more points than Schmidt, but only 5 more points, and Mikhail Sergachev plays on power play 1. So when we're talking 5-on-5 production, Schmidt is one of the most productive defensemen. And speaking of defensemen, we've got Durzi coming back. It's got to be soon. He's practicing with the team. I would say no more than a week and a half, 2 weeks tops, till Sean Durzi is back. Now, not only is Nate Schmidt playing great, but D. Simone's playing great. So when Durzi comes out, is D. Simone just automatically out? Because he's playing phenomenal hockey. He's up with Mikhail Sergachev on the top pairing. But I don't know if they let Dmitry go. So what do you guys see when Sean Durzi comes back?
Yeah, I think D. Simone's just the odd guy out. Like,
Yeah,
as much as it sucks, I think he just kind of is.
Yeah, like you could, I guess, make an argument for Simashev and sending him to Tucson just to get some more reps and some more ice time, and maybe like have the same like Josh Doan type impact of last year. But I don't think they want to give up on Simashev, and I don't think he deserves. I don't think his play deserves to be given up on. Like they kind of tossed in the towel last year on Maverick Lamoureux. And at that point, that was deserved. I don't think it is with Dmitry. So I think it is just a case of, like it's just D. Simone, because he's just the guy that hadn't been filling in, and which sucks, because there's a part of me, and honestly, I mean, I shouldn't even have to say there's a part of me, but I wish we were getting an offensive player back from injury, right? Because we have 3 guys on our 4th line who we're completely fine. Like, I would be fine with any of them being taken off the ice, as long as Liam O'Brien's not the one who's taking their spot. But yeah, I think it is D. Simone, just because that's what his role on the team is. If someone needs a rest, you go in. If somebody gets injured, you go in. But you're not going to be on there if everybody is healthy.
Yeah,
we trade Ian Cole at the trade deadline to a contender in the East, and then we can have D. Simone play full-time. It all works out just fine.
But based on his...
Anybody going to complain if we trade Ian Cole to an Eastern Conference contender? No.
I don't think at the start of the season...
Why?
At the start of the season, nobody would have cared. Right now, with how well Ian Cole has been playing all year,
well, I'm not saying he's not
some people
playing
are going to
well.
be upset.
I'm not saying he hasn't been. But Ian Cole is the perfect guy a playoff team wants to bring in cheap at the trade deadline, and we have an abundance of defensemen. We all know he's Cole's the odd man out to get traded.
Yeah, and Cole's like a stock, right? You buy low and you sell high. Like, his stock is never going to be higher for like a trade deadline to a contender. Like, he's going to be off. Like, just bring him in, be a steadfast, like, veteran defender for a team that can contend. Like, it's perfect. And then maybe we trade him, and like maybe we can trade him and some bum off our 4th line who can't do any damn thing.
Liam
Trade him and
O'Brien.
Stenlin for somebody who can play center. Nobody's going to trade for Liam O'Brien, though.
No,
That's the
but
problem
we just
that you
throw
run
him in
into
there.
with
We
Liam
eat,
O'Brien.
Look,
Is just,
we eat the salary and just throw him in there for like a dryer.
That's true. Just like get him,
Like, just
get him
take
away.
Him. What?
Just
we'll
get him
offer you
off of the
Cole.
roster so Tourigny can't play him.
People are going to be like, look, we want Ian Cole. And we say, fine, but you got to take Tuna with him. If you want Cole, you get the Tune.
We retain
By the way,
800,000 of his $1 million
Yeah, that's fine.
that's
fine.
I mean, at that point,
Ryan
don't you just
Smith
cut
can
him?
eat it.
Don't you just cut him and give him the $1 million and just say,
I would.
Thanks
let
for
him,
your,
let him go out.
Just
let
get
him go
him
sign
on
with an
TV.
A. Send
Like,
O'Brien
just tell
to
him we're
Tucson.
gonna cut him. Just tell Liam like we're gonna cut you, but the day after you're cut, we're signing you to a media deal with SEG Plus. Like we'll put you on the TV, you'll become a hype man. We can put you down on the ice and be like the in arena hype man, whatever you want to be. But we can't have you on the hockey team anymore.
Can we send
I
him
can't
to
imagine
Tucson?
Nashcast. Does Tyson Nash actually have a long-term contract as a broadcaster? Like his buyout camp. I mean, buyouts, right? I'm focusing on college football where everybody and their dog gets a buyout. Like, I'm sorry, nobody in Utah cares about Tyson Nash. Nobody does.
Nobody anywhere cares about Tyson Nash. Don't limit it to Utah. Don't act like people elsewhere care.
They're putting him on the broadcast. They're doing his Nashcast again. Like, I have no doubts that he has a role in hockey. Like, right? He's going to be somewhere in hockey. But when you have a guy that could Tyson Nash, he'll find a landing spot. But Liam O'Brien needs to get in the press box. He needs to stay in the franchise, but stay off the ice. That is 100% a fact.
Make him the Mammoth, the mascot.
I'm just looking. Just because I was curious how he got here. Tyson Nash played 2 seasons in Phoenix 20 years ago and scored 3 goals.
Left.
Like, it's not like he's like a beloved, like historical figure. Like, we sucked, but he was like a cornerstone and like a fan favorite or whatever. Like, he played 2 years, 20 seasons ago and did nothing.
No one has a Tyson Nash jersey is what we're getting at, folks.
No. Yeah, I think it's like one of those things where it's like they probably brought him over because like they wanted people who were familiar. They didn't need to bring it.
Yeah.
They just kind of brought everybody over, and he was part of that deal. But now they've kind of leaned into it. I think incorrectly, but maybe because they haven't had a alternative. Well, now we're giving you the alternative. We're laying it all out there. Like, this is it. This is the absolute alternative. And guys, I'm backing off of Tourigny, right? He got a stay of execution only temporarily, only just. But, and I'll tell you why I give him the benefit of the doubt now, because the Peterka moving to the third line looks great, and it's
stroke
staying.
Of genius.
Yeah, it's staying, which is the Tourigny must be like, I want to change it so bad. But then he moves Cooley around to try to unlock Cooley, but that doesn't work. It backfires. And then he puts him back with Gunther, and then that unlocks him. And he puts Yamamoto up there, who hasn't had a point on that line. But that's a poor man's JJ Peterka. That's a guy who can match both Cooley and Gunther's speed, who doesn't need to shoot the puck. That's the problem with Peterka, Cooley, Gunther's. You've got 3 guys who all want to shoot the puck. Nobody wants to pass it. They're all being told to pass it, but nobody wants to. But now you've got Yamamoto who doesn't need to shoot.
Somebody has to go to the front of the net, and it's Yamamoto.
Exactly. Now
he's willing to do it.
He is. He's the smallest, most physical guy you'll ever see in your life. It's so crazy how physical he is for how small he is.
Do you remember Nathan Gerby, Randon?
Yeah.
The 5'6" dude who fought Zdeno Chara.
Yeah.
Yamamoto is just Gerby 2.0. He just hasn't fought Chara yet.
Well, he could probably beat Chara now. What is Chara, like 62, something like that?
Yeah, but he runs a marathon every week.
I was going to say, what he reminds me of is, you both, I would assume, have seen the movie Rudy, but Vince Vaughn's character in that, like, he's a senior, he's never played, and then his coach is saying, God damn it, if you played with half the heart that Rudiger plays with, you would have been All-American. Like, that's Kyler Yamamoto. Like, he's the guy who plays like complete all heart for love of the game. Like, I'm going to get in there. And he is what I thought Matthias Michelli was at the end, like beginning of last year. Like I saw him kind of flying around the ice, and I said, that's the type of player that Utah fans fall in love with, because they love the extra energy, like hard-nosed junkyard dog, like bring your lunch pail to work type dudes that Utah fans fall in love with. And it was not Matthias Michelli in hindsight, but it is Kyler Yamamoto. And like you said, like the combination of the kid line, people said this about like when super teams started coming together in the NBA. Like, yeah, it's great to have a bunch of dudes that score 30 points a game, but there's only one basketball on the floor. They can't all shoot every single time down the court, so they're not all going to keep doing the same thing that they were doing. And it's the same thing in the NHL. There's only one puck on the ice. They can't all be scoring 2 goals a game, right? Like, but having a guy with that same speed and the same like craftiness and playing with that hard nose, so that the other guys don't have to, and he doesn't care if he's not the one taking one-timers from the circle or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I did want to make one point, and how we have given Tourigny credit for moving Peterka down to line 3 with Krause and McBain, and like it's worked really, really well. And I'll give him the credit for doing it, but just based on the fact that happened in between the second and third period of a game, and it was just like, let's try this and see if it works. It was yet another like Tourigny, like throw something against a wall and see if it sticks. But that one just happened to stick, because that wasn't like a logical in between games. Like, okay, this has been working in practice. We've been doing this in practice. I'm going to make the change. It was just, this shit isn't working. I have to change something. Let's move him down. Like, and I will throw that one caveat in there, but I'm not going to take away from the credit that we're trying to give him, because as a podcast, we've been very hard on Tourigny, and I'll give him his props where he earns them, and that is a place where he's earned it.
Yeah, it is his in-game adjustments have been cause for concern. Like, why do we still suck in second periods? Like, that is just mind-boggling to me, and it has to be the message he's sending his team. I don't know if he's sending him out there saying, okay, you got him now, just hold on to it, right? Just weather the storm, like almost as if they're embracing the fact that they suck in the second period. And he's like, oh yeah, just weather the storm, and then we'll get to the third period. Like, no, just tell them, hey guys, have you ever tried playing the same way you played in the first period and in the second period too? And then try it again in the third period? Like, I don't know what he's saying, or I would love to have him on the show and ask him like what is an intermission like? Like, I mean, do you talk to them? Do you talk to your coaching staff? Like, do you just send out a 30-minute or 30-second spiel? Like, what is the messaging in the locker room in an NHL intermission? I would love to actually get a behind the scenes on that one. But if the minute he benches Yamamoto or sends Yamamoto down or whatever he needs to do to get O'Brien into the lineup, if it's at the cost of Yamamoto, say fire him again. Like, none of this, it's workload management, it's workload, it's rest, it's we got a tough schedule. Like, everybody's got a tough schedule. The best players play 82. That's just and I guarantee you every single player wants to play 82. So don't give me that, we need to rest him. No, you don't. If it was up to you, you'd just bench him. Like, you're not actively resting him because you feel like he's an integral part of this team. You're benching him for rest because you feel like he's expendable. You feel like you as Tourigny feels like he does not lose much when he swaps out Yamamoto and Liam O'Brien. In fact, I feel like he sometimes feels like he gains something, whether it's the energy factor or the physicality, or whatever he thinks he gains. But now it's got to be Carcone, which we've all been fans of Carcone, but now Yamamoto has proved that he can at least play slightly at a second line level. Is he a long-term second line guy? Probably not. But is he a better second line guy than Michael Carcone this season? Absolutely. Now, I like Michael Carcone on the fourth line, but if you're going to bring in O'Brien, let Carcone sit. But if he benches him for Yamamoto again, it won't matter. We can make the playoffs, we could win the Stanley Cup, and I'll still say fire Tourigny, because I think that just shows that he just doesn't have the faith in his guys, or he just simply doesn't care about winning, and all he wants is the process, right? Trust the process. I don't want to develop guys in perpetuity. I want to win.
What's the process? Like, you want me to trust it? What the is it? Is it winning a few games in a row and then going on a 7-game losing streak? Is it continuing to suck in the second? What is the process? And like, I want to know, what does he see on the games that Yamamoto plays where the games after he's like, yeah, I got to bench this guy? What game are you watching of Kyler Yamamoto's that we all apparently don't see?
I don't know. I'd love to have him on and ask him, because I don't know what he sees. I don't know what he's looking at. If it's something like, I mean, because we kind of had these same questions about Michelli, right? Like when Michelli is producing and then he's getting benched, and then it just, the rumors swirl that this is an attitude problem. I'll tell you, when you look at a guy like Michelli and his comments in postgame, you're like, yeah, I can see that guy as having like an attitude, right? I can see him giving it back to the coach. I cannot see Kyler Yamamoto being anything other than an absolute yes man. Like, you tell me what to do, coach, and I will do it. Like, I just can't imagine he's doing anything else.
Yeah,
so
whatever you tell him to do, he's doing it. That makes no sense.
That's what like you bring up, like, what are you seeing from Kyler Yamamoto? Like, we played that game against San Jose, and other than Peterka, who just willed it in the third period to tie that game up and send it to overtime, Kyler Yamamoto was the second best skater on the ice for Utah. And the very next game against Vegas, he's like, yep, you're out, Kyler. We're putting Liam O'Brien in. And granted, I know that it's not an apples to apples comparison, but like, Liam O'Brien is in against Vegas, we lose 4-1. Yamamoto's in against Vegas, we win 5-1. Like, I know that one decision isn't making a 7-goal swing, but it's just, I don't even know if it's just like the team just plays better and like believes in each other more when Yamamoto's on the ice instead of Liam O'Brien. Like, what I'd really like to see, and I don't know, like, if he's ready, maybe the club just doesn't think that he's ready, but something needs to happen with the fourth line. Like, we have 4 guys, and one of them is Liam O'Brien, so I'm not even gonna count that. But we have, other than Liam O'Brien, we have 3 offensive players who are negative in terms of plus minus on the season, and it's Tanev, Stenlund, and Carconi. It's our fourth line. Everybody else is at least like 0 or positive. And our fourth line just, they cannot do anything. And at that point, when your fourth line is that bad and you're getting that little production from your fourth line, and all they do is go out there and give up goals, like, why would you not think about like calling up Boot and like just see what he can do? What are you going to lose? Like, none of them are scoring. None of them are doing anything. Try it. But what I don't want to see is just like, all right, well, Carconi can't do anything. Stenley can't do anything. Let's see if Liam O'Brien can do something, because he's not going to be able to do anything. Liam O'Brien has played 2 seasons here, and granted, not a full season either time, but he has 2 points since the team moved here. He's not going to fix that issue. Bring up somebody who has the ability, but
he'll never move on from Stenlund because he's so reliant on Stenlund to win faceoffs. It doesn't matter what Stenlund does, as long as Stenlund wins faceoffs, he'll be on every line that Tourigny wants him to. Which, again, you got to find other people to win faceoffs. Like, eventually, you cannot have Kevin Stenlund take every important faceoff, because there are times when it's not important for him to be on the ice. Now, luckily, Kevin Stenlund, he's a phenomenal penalty killer, which has been, without a doubt, continues to be the brightest spot on this team in November, is the outstanding penalty kill. The only goal they've allowed on the penalty kill in the month of November was that 4-on-3 in overtime. And I don't really count that. Just like, on the flip side, I no longer count Gunther's 5-on-3 goal as the only power play goal that we've scored in the month of November. And we're talking about a tale of 2 teams here. It's just so mind-boggling how I just don't even know what to think of these things. And so these are 2 things we wanted to talk, or there's 2 things I want to talk about: Veggie and the power play. So let's talk about the power play real quick, because we mentioned it before. So Durzi's coming back, right? Which helps, because he'll be the defenseman on power play 2. But power play 2 doesn't get a lot of time on the ice, because power play 1's too busy chasing pucks, and they stay on the ice for 1:40. Power play 2 maybe gets a 20-second lapse, but it's been absolutely insane how poorly our power play is played for the entire month. Now, we've been in stretches of this. This is where it ties back to Tourigny. This is not a fluke where our power play is usually magic and suddenly it went cold. We had an almost identical cold streak in December, January, and February of last year, where we got down into the negatives in net power play because we'd allowed so many shorthanded goals. And then the only bright spot there is after that cold streak, they brought it back to finish at a respectable just above 20% for the entire season. But there was that month and a half lull where it was just as bad as it is now. And that, my friends, is a coach who has the inability to focus his team where it matters. So I don't know if it's the special team coach on the power play that needs to go, or if Tourigny's just not doing the right thing because he's tried to move everybody everywhere. Right, he's moved all the lines around.
He put Stanlin on power play 1, so he's tried everything.
Is he just waiting for Kerfoot to come back, and that's what's going to fix the fourth line, and he's hoping that magically it'll fix the power play 2? Even though I think Kerfoot may have played on power play 2, but I don't remember if he did, if he got extended minutes on power play 2. But I'm sorry, I don't think Kerfoot's going to be the magic touch. Like, this is a schematic thing where, Ryan, you mentioned this the last episode, the other teams just know how to stop our zone entries. At this point, we're too predictable with zone entries, or we're offside on the play on our zone entries. And again, we're moving the puck around. It looks great, but we can't get a shot to save our lives. Nobody's shooting the puck. And what did you see? You saw Dylan Gunther and Logan Cooley. They start shooting, pucks go in. Like, it's got to feel good for Cooley to finally be able to start shooting again. But that's kind of on him for passing up prime opportunities. How many times do we see Logan Cooley pass up a prime opportunity? And again, to me, that says that's what the coach wanted him to do. Not a Logan Cooley trying to be a more well-rounded player. That's a coach saying, Logan Cooley, try to pass the puck more because we want to set up, but then Tourigny comes around and says, oh, they're looking for the highlight reel. They're looking for the highlight reel. Probably because that's how you've coached them. Otherwise, tell them to not do that sooner. I don't know. Power play woe, guys. I don't know how to fix it.
Everybody in the Delta Center, yell, shoot the puck. That's how you fix a power play. They just need somebody, whether it's their coach or whether it's the fans at the stands, yell at them to shoot the puck. Something has to change because you have to be able to get the puck into the offensive zone with possession in order to shoot the puck. But just shoot the puck. One thing that was troubling, and it wound up not being an issue last night because Utah is so good at the penalty kill, but Vegas had a power play last night where it was just offensive possession in the scoring zone by Vegas for almost the 2 full entire minutes of their power play. And then you look on the flip side, and it takes 1:25 before Utah can even establish possession of the puck in the offensive zone. And that's the difference. Like, Vegas can get the puck in and pass it around and then set up their power play and look for their shooting lanes. Whereas Utah gets it in and then they've got 20 seconds left on the power play clock. And it's like, all right, we got to try and hurry and find a shot here because there's nothing. And that's the biggest issue facing the power play right now is that Utah just can't not enter the zone with the puck and establish possession and then move the puck around to find their shooting lanes. Like, can't get it into the zone, and when you can't do that, you're not going to score any power play goals.
Ryan, do you have any diagnosis, and how do we fix it?
You change, and the best hockey teams can adapt and change and figure out new ways to do stuff. And Utah has one way of doing everything, and Tourigny's way sucks. And I don't know, you fix it, you gotta be more willing, like, you gotta play a system, but you gotta be able to change that system and have variants of that system. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to, like, move and play with different teams, and every team is different. But we're not. Every team has figured it out. All you got to do is stand up at the blue line, and guess what? We're either, like Brandon said, we're either offsides or it's not going to work. And then we don't dump and chase. We don't know how to extend possession in the offensive zone. And yeah, I don't know. We need to do a lot. The whole power play needs a revamp.
I really would. I think the way of, like, you fix, because personnel, like, we've tried every combination of everybody who's meaningful, right? So what I would honestly like to see is just put power play 2 out there for the first minute. That's what I would like to see, because we don't get to see power play 2 actually work, because by the time they get on the ice, there's 20 seconds left in the power play at most. They're in their defensive zone, and then the same issues of bringing it in. Just let them start the power play. Just let him start the power play. Give him the first minute, then give power play 1 the second minute. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see power play 2 get more work. You got 3 or 4 centers on that line now, just let them go to work. Let them body people. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But that's the only thing I can think of.
So power play 2 is going to be Kraus, Peterka, Cooley, and then
And then
Stenlund and
plays
Schmidt?
on power play 2 still. Stenlund and Schmidt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your team leader in goals is on power play 2. Maybe see if your team goal leader can go out there and score a power play goal. Do that. Just completely flip it on its head and make that your first power play unit. Sure.
I mean, I don't even let's not make the distinction, right? Eventually there's not going to be a distinction between line 1 and line 2 in terms of time on ice. So let's not make a distinction between the number 1 and the number 2. It's just group A and group A,
1A and 1B.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're separate but equal. Separate but equal, people. That's the only way to fix it. Otherwise, just shoot pucks and hope that it goes in, because eventually the dam will break. But I worry that that's so much of this team's well, how do you get out of this downturn? Well, you simply just play until it's not a downturn anymore. Right? That's this team's mentality for getting through adversity. I think Tourigny said the word adversity probably 172 times in the month of November, but I don't think he understands what adversity he's actually facing. I think he may have an inkling that he may be on the hot seat, but in his mind, I don't think that he does believe that he's on the hot seat. But I'll tell you, here's something I've been thinking about, guys. Tell me if I'm off base here or not. So we've got Desnoyers, we've got Tisha Ginla, we've got Daniil Boot, potentially Cole Baudouin, right? All of those guys are young. And if we're looking at Andre Tourigny as his biggest strength as a coach is the ability to develop these young guys into superstars, if the goal is to hopefully have those guys on the team, where's the incentive to move from Tourigny? That's one thing I'm worried about, and kind of why I'm I actually don't want to see the young guys, because I would like to see a coach that can come in and coach the team he has to win the games in front of him, not a coach that is looking at where is this team going to be in 3 to 5 years. The GM can worry about that, but I want a coach to say, here's the team I have in front of me, here's how I'm going to maximize the wins this season, and here's how I'm going to win the first round of the playoffs, and then get to the second round and decide how you're going to win that. That's the type of coach I want. Not a coach that's saying, I'm developing these guys for the long term. Because at some point, you're not even going to get to reap the benefits that you don't even get to see the plant grow, right? You're planting the seeds and you're going to be gone before they grow.
So what you're saying is, rather than fire Tourigny, we just option him to AAA and let him go coach Tucson so that he can be the developer of our young talent, and then bring in a coach who bring in, not Torts, who are we bringing in?
Pete DeBoer.
Bringing in Dallas's old, DeBoer, thank you, Dallas's old coach, who just does nothing but go to Westwood's finals. But yeah, bring him in, just let Tourigny go coach in Tucson. Then we have the great developer of young talent who turns them into superstars down there, turning our young talent into superstars, and send them up to the guy who knows how to win. Perfect combination. Happy family.
There's I'm trying to think of who the head coach is currently on the team. I thought it was somebody named Potvin, but Steve Potvin. I don't know of any relation to Felix. I would assume.
I was going to say Felix.
I would assume he's somehow related to, but there's some concern that maybe he's not the coach of the Tucson Roadrunners. But I mean, at least let
Madden.
Tourigny go and coach another developing team. I don't know who is in a true rebuild that would need somebody like him, because it seems like even
Flames.
but are they even in a rebuild? They don't even have the pieces to consider a rebuild. Yeah, but they don't even have the pieces. They're still 2, 3, 4 years away from even having the pieces to rebuild.
Yeah, they're gonna dump everybody this trade deadline.
But here's the thing. Speaking of the Calgary Flames, so why do we care, right? It's an 82 game season. Give him time, guys. Like, you're jumping the gun. We don't need to fire him. Give him time. Why do we even care about this? Utah Mammoth, they're in the 8th seed. They are the wild card team. Only just. But here's why it's important. You may have been reading about this because it's a fun topic of discussion around this time. But there is I forget what it's called, but in the NHL, by the Thanksgiving break, you pretty much have the idea of the playoff teams because it's like 76% of the time, the teams that are in the playoffs at the Thanksgiving break are those same teams that are in the playoffs when the playoffs start. Last year, 2 teams from the East and 2 teams from the West flip-flopped. You had Montreal and Ottawa as teams who were out that got in. Montreal was actually the last team in the East at the Thanksgiving break, and they made it into the playoffs. Same thing in the West. You had Vancouver and Calgary were both in the playoffs at the Thanksgiving break, and they both missed out. Only just, though. The Flames tied with St. Louis in points, just lost out on the tiebreaker. So that's the margin we're talking about. That's why it's so important that the Utah Mammoth are not only in the playoff picture, but we want them to be in a commanding playoff picture, because then it almost guarantees, historically speaking, that they make the playoffs. Right now, they're still fighting for their life, and they will be for the next 59, 60 games of the season.
And to kind of put into perspective how tight things are and how important every game is, and how, like, when we look back at games where, what was the game where we gave up a lead late? Anaheim, right? We gave up a goal with 4 seconds left and lose in overtime, and it's only 1 point, and you think like, oh, okay, we got 1 instead of 2, like, not a huge deal. Right now, Utah's sitting in the wild card spot, and they are 3 games back of Dallas for second place, 3 points back of Dallas for second in the West, right? Like, they're only 3 back of being the second best team in the West. They are 3 points ahead of Winnipeg for 11th in the West. Like, it is so tight. Like, that's 1 win and 1 overtime. Like, that's how close it is from being in Dallas's position as the second best team in the West down to Winnipeg, who's not even, like, I mean, they're close, but they're not even, like, on the border of the wild card right now. And some of the teams at the bottom, like Edmonton, like, they have shitty goaltending, but they've made the Stanley Cup Finals, to the last 2 seasons, and Winnipeg is there. Like, they're eventually, I would assume, gonna turn this shit around and start winning. So they're gonna probably start moving up. The Sharks are good. The Chicago Blackhawks are good. And then 2 of the teams that we were fighting with at the end of last year are down at the bottom in Vancouver and Calgary. 2 of the teams that we were fighting with for that last wild card spot as we went down the wire. So, like, points are at a premium right now, and you can't slide, or else you're finding yourself down with Calgary and Nashville at the bottom of the West. Like, you can't slide when stuff is this tight.
The Winnipeg Jets have shut down Connor Hellebuyck for potentially, it probably won't be, but there is a potential that he stays out all the way to the Olympic break. Now, the reason we projected Winnipeg to be as good as they are, let's put all our cards on the table. They've got a great offensive team, but it's Connor Hellebuyck that is carrying that team to victory. With him out, the question will become, how big of a gap can Utah open up? Because if they can't, after the Olympic break, you can't tell me that Hellebuyck, potentially coming off a gold medal, isn't going to play out of his mind to get his team back in the playoff hunt if they are out of it. If the Winnipeg Jets are ahead of us at the Olympic break, I don't see us catching them after the Olympic break. So that's why this is important now.
I never want to prey on anybody's downfall, injury, whatever it could be, get well, Hellebuyck. Hopefully it's not serious, the surgery and everything goes well. But Utah has to take advantage of Winnipeg going down. This is the chance for the teams in the West to be like, oh shit, they're going to go down. They're going to. In Edmonton sucks right now. Put as much distance between us all as we all can, because we all know what's going to happen come January 1st. McDavid's going to turn it the on. Edmonton's going to sneak back into the playoffs, and they're going to be a playoff wagon again. But if we can eliminate their chances now with them getting in, everything's better for everybody.
We're so close, and that's what, Dustin, just like you said, everything is so tight. Like, that's why it's hard to be ultra negative. For as bad as this team has played, everything is still within sight.
The 3 points out of being second in the West.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we play the Canadiens next, right? And then after that comes Dallas. Like, that's a huge swing right there. Like, the team that we are 3 points back of for second in the West, we can go steal 2 from them and keep them scoreless. And who knows, like, in 2 games' time, we could be in second place in the West. I mean, granted, other games are also going to have to fall our way for that to happen. But, like, that's how quickly you can move up and down right now in the West with how tight things are. Because other than Colorado, who's just going gangbusters on the entire league right now, is just like, nope, we're never going to lose in regulation. We're getting out of this game with at least 1 point every single goddamn time we step on the ice. But other than Colorado, everything is just tight because there's so many good teams in the West. There's so much talent in the West. Like, you gotta.
Yep. And we talked about scheduling, and there's no easy games in the NHL, and it doesn't get easier for the Mammoth, right? After the home game against the Canadiens tonight, the next 9 of 12 or 9 of 13 are on the road. Like, it's not an easy December. It's not an easy December. Every chance you get to win and to close that gap matters, because we're going to be talking about this in March and April about the ifs and buts and what ifs. What if we would have got that point? What if we would have got that point? And I hope that it's the reverse, that the other teams are saying, what if we would have got that point against Utah in overtime? What if we would have got that point we had that game against Utah? We had them on a back-to-back or something like that. Let's start that momentum. Let's get back to the 7-game win streak. But we'll talk more about that road trip next time. We've got the 4 games till we talk to you next, but we do want to briefly talk about, before we get to the most important segment of the episode, very important, we talk about how good Vejmelka has been as of late. We talked about how his stats were just not great, a byproduct of how few shots the Utah Mammoth allow, but he has played out of his mind against the Rangers and the Golden Knights in those wins. And you talked about it, Dustin. You tweeted it that, yes, Cooley scored 4 goals, but make no mistake, Veggie absolutely won us that game. Veggie stood on his head and blocked shots that, well, let's put all our cards on the table. Veggie sometimes doesn't stop. He didn't have necessarily a soft Veggie goal. He played lights out, and we need more of it. Tourigny's finally giving him the starts that we want. He's right about a 3-1 with Vanacek. So if he continues that and he plays like that, then we're going to make the playoffs. It all comes down to Veggie. Veggie has been outstanding.
If Veggie turns it around the way that he has been lately, and Keller kind of starts to find his stride, that's when this team starts trending more towards the very good that I was talking about at the start of the show. Like, that makes this a very good, possibly bordering on great team, right? And that Vegas game, there was one save in particular in the first period. It's still not at its 0. Seal hadn't been broken on either of the goals, and Vegas sent one from the right side of the ice to the left, and I was on my couch just like, oh, that's a goal. And then Veggie just kicks his foot out, gets that pad on it, makes that save, and I jumped off my couch like, oh, that's a Veggie save. Like, that's the stuff that, like, Veggie's capable of. And that's been, like, what's been so, like, infuriating about Veggie to this point of the season, because he's capable of making those amazing saves where you kind of jump off your couch. Like, how did he keep that out? That's amazing. But then he lets in some of the softest, easiest, lightest goals you'll ever see an NHL goalie let into the net. It's like, why don't we get that Veggie all of the time? Like, why doesn't he just slam that door shut on those easy goals, right? But yeah, you take that save and then you combine it with the second period where Utah just had, it seemed like, no desire to keep the puck in the offensive zone at all. And Vegas just peppered him with goal, like, just peppered him with shots, just shot after shot after shot, and he kept all except one out of that net. And like, that's what saved that game. Like, you go into the third period up 2-1 instead of knotted at 2-2. That's a completely different feel coming out onto the ice after the second intermission. And then it only takes 4 minutes for Logan Cooley to go out there and make it 3-1. You're like, okay, now we feel good. Now we feel safe. 2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey, but we feel better, especially with the game that Veggie was playing. And all season long, we've been waiting for that, like, the game that Veggie goes out and wins for you, right? We've talked about this in the past where, like, you need a goalie who, like, when your offense just isn't clicking and the shots aren't finding the back of the net, Like, you need a goalie who can go out there and, like, I got this. Like, you guys are like, you guys can take your time to find your stride, but I got this. They're not scoring on us. And that was that was possibly the first game. Maybe you could make an argument for the Buffalo game, the 2-1 win in Buffalo, for the first being the first game that Veggie went out and won with how he played. But outside of this one, this was the best that Veggie has looked, and it's great to see him finally hitting his stride.
It's going to be fun to watch if he can turn it around and continue to be that core. Well, speaking of core, this is my favorite part of the episode, my favorite part of the week, because for those of you who don't know, the Utah Mammoth have something special on their team. One of the best to ever do it, they say. The one and only Nicholas V. Schmaltz. And so to honor him and to honor the great players on this team, the Two Line Pass podcast has created something special.
So this is, of course, the illustrious Nick Schmaltz of the Week award, won by one Nicholas Schmaltz, the first 3 weeks running when we did this. 3-time winner. But yeah, just basically we look back over the previous week, we decide who was the best and most important player on the ice for the team, and we reward that player with the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award. And this week, I got to be honest, up until last night, which is really weird to say because it was quite possibly his best game of the year, it was probably going to be Vejmelka, right? He was probably going to be the Nick Schmaltz of the Week. But when you have one of only, I believe, 3 players with multiple hat tricks this season, I believe the only player to score 4 goals in a game this year, and when that happens, he's got to be Nick Schmaltz of the Week, right? So this week's winner of the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award, if you follow us on Twitter, you already know, but it is one Logan Cooley, going from 1 goal scored in November all the way up to 5, rocketing up the goal leaders and taking the lead from Nick Schmaltz. You know what? Vegas came into this game and they thought, you know what? We have to shut down Nick Schmaltz. We have to take him out of the game. Somebody else is going to have to beat us, right? You talk about that all the time in other sports. Like, your guy's not going off. We're going to take him away. You're going to have to find somebody else to beat us with. You know, you take a running quarterback and you say, like, we're going to put a spy on you. You're not running. You're going to have to beat us through the air. And that's exactly what Logan Cooley did. He saw the attention that was being paid to Nick Schmaltz. He said, I'm cashing in on this. And he did a bang, 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 bang. 4 times, cashing in on that and just taking by the throat a raptor-sized grip. I don't know, do raptors have good grip? I have no idea. I'm just rambling at this point. But the Logan Cooley of the Nick Schmaltz of the Week award. Congratulations to Logan.
That is a tremendous...
Eagles have good grip. They're a raptor.
They do, yeah. I was going to say, because they grab the fish, right? The raptor
like birds or bird raptors have a good grip, so you would assume a dinosaur probably did, right?
Do the Eagles have large talons?
They do. Eagles do, yeah. Yeah, large talons and very strong. Very strong. You ever seen, like, harpy eagles grab sloths out of trees?
I've never seen that.
Gnarly. Yeah, go to YouTube and look up a harpy eagle grabbing a sloth.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Imagine it's a baby, and then, man, the video's getting demonetized.
I'll tell you this, I reject modern science that wants to put feathers on raptors. Hashtag not my raptors. Give me the Jurassic Park scaly raptors any day of the week. But Logan Cooley, a predator on the ice. He is locked in.
Pause.
He smells blood in the water, and he capitalizes. Logan Cooley, congratulations, my man, on winning that. Now he's the youngest, I believe, the youngest Nicholas V. Schmaltz winner in history.
I just want to say that Dustin did say Vejmelka was probably the winner. I want to say JJ Peterka also had a good case for the Nick Schmaltz of the Week up until last night, as he also had 5 goals. They just came over the week, not 4 in one game.
It would have been his back-to-back.
He would have been back-to-back, the second back-to-back winner.
Has Peterka not been more than we all asked for this season? He has been everything we needed and more. I am so happy about that trade. Thank God.
I will say,
Bill
let me double
Armstrong is a
check
good
because I
GM.
haven't checked the voting, but I did send out a tweet with the poll saying, who do you think is going to win? And I give the options of Vejmelka, JJ Peterka, Nick Schmaltz, or Logan Cooley. And with 32% of the votes, JJ Peterka was in the lead. So there's...
So he's your runner-up?
We could have gone
So
with
he'll get runner-up
any
then,
three,
right?
any four, realistically. We could have gone with any four of those guys. I mean, I don't
We
think
had a
Nick
good week.
Schmaltz scored at all during this week. But when you're
No, but he
that
played
good
good.
and you draw that much attention, like you're such an integral part of the team's success, we could give it to Nick Schmaltz every single week, and I don't think anybody would complain because he just
for his
means that much to the team.
His defensive effort alone. He plays on this penalty kill unit, by the way, guys. Underrated. That I don't think anybody really gives him any credit for that. He plays on the lights out PK units, but yeah, that's what, when you have a guy like Nicholas Schmaltz on your team, you know, that skill and that desire to win, that's going to spread to these young guys, right? Like, he can't win games for him though. You can't win games for them. They've got to play too. So, that's why we sometimes lose. We can't win them all, even with the great Nick Schmaltz.
If you'll give me 1 second and just indulge me, like as a prior applicant for the stadium announcer, we're eventually going to wind up with an AHL team here in Utah when they move Tucson up after Utah leaves. So I just want to keep the pipes fresh, and in honor of Logan Cooley, I just want to give it a this goal, scored at the 4-minute 19-second mark of the third period, scored unassisted by Logan Cooley.
Woo!
There you go.
Give him the job. Give him the job, folks. And then I also what my favorite part of the PA guy is the super serious. After the fun part that he's like, that goal, once again, 4 minutes and 12 seconds, scored by Logan Cooley, unassisted. 4 minutes, 12 seconds in the
just he need this second follow up, for those of you that are keeping score, here's the calm, reflective, just easy
I haven't
announcement.
noticed if
For
the
all the
NHL announcer
no-nonsense
does it,
fans.
but dear. But
And
guys,
we should do it
fun.
we should do it like a 1940s style boxing announcer and be like, Logan Cooley. Cooley. And just always say it that second time, right?
I thought you were gonna go with hey, it's Logan Cooley.
Yeah, hey, that goal was scored by Logan Cooley. 4 minutes and 19 seconds into the third period, it was by Logan Cooley.
Fastest skater around, they say.
Guys, do you have any closing thoughts before we get on out of here? We've had a lot of fun tonight.
Hockey's fun again.
Want to talk about
Hockey is fun right now. It is hard. Like I think all of us, maybe not Ryan, but me and Randon kind of consider this like jobs, right? Ryan just hops on once a week because he just wants to talk hockey and he's good at talking hockey. But me and Randon are like, this is a job.
Yeah,
but when you're doing this, when we're doing this and we're losing, it's not fun to come on here and talk about losing hockey and talk about what needs to be done, who needs to be moved, does the coach need to be fired, blah, blah, blah. When we get on here after wins, especially big wins like that one, this is so much more fun. Hockey is a blast. I love this.
Hockey absolutely is. And we're going to start talking to the fans. Why wait for the Fanly Cup to get some fan interaction, doing some more live streams, getting some interviews, doing some collabs in the work with our friends over at the Slapshot Utah guys. We're going to have them on. It's going to be a great time. A lot of positivity, a lot of future success, and it all starts tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. Let's get revenge. The win, 3 in a row. The streak is alive. Guys, thanks so much for joining me, and everybody out there, have a great night.